Hey, everybody. Welcome to our Monday workshop meeting, May 7th. We will, 7:01. We'll roll call
President Valerie Reinfeller,
here.
Vice President Diane Law,
Here.
Councilmember Shirley Blair Fuller,
Here.
Councilmember Brooke Chet Williams,
Here.
Councilmember Deb Cassini Klein,
Here.
Councilmember Andrea DeTillo,
Here.
Councilmember Jade Dorn, I believe is not present, and Mayor Paul Graham-Matt.
Here.
Great. And we'll move on to our public comment. Churchill Borough residents and taxpayers are welcome to comment. You have 3 minutes. When you speak, please state your name and your address. And there's nobody in the room that will speak, so we will move on to online. Does anybody raise their hand? No, we'll give it a minute or two. And we have no participants online. Ah, yeah.
I guess they have all kinds of confidence in
That's,
Yeah.
there's usually like 1 or 2,
I know.
but this is kind of surprising.
Wonder if there's a technical problem.
Oh, is there?
No, I'm just wondering.
Yeah,
Cause I know my husband wanted to go over. He said last time he had a hard time going on our website, getting online. We had to play around. Yeah. Maybe that's it.
nothing at,
Oh.
oh, there we go.
Whatever.
Oh, there they are.
Did
There
Did you?
you are.
Take that thing out.
Oh.
Hi,
Okay,
people that hopped in, and Jay is on.
there we go. Oh, there they are. They're all popping in now.
Yeah.
People.
Yep. Kathy Bordner, thank you for raising your hand, and we will move you over so you're able to speak. You have 3 minutes, and state your name and your address.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hold on if you would, so I can start my timer. Okay. I saw a couple of things of interest on the agenda. Number 9, discuss the possible implementation of the Yago Community Center policy. I would like to encourage you to allow people who want to reserve the room to see the calendar before they do. And that way they might have to adjust their dates. It will make it a more streamlined process. Number 10, Climate Action Committee. I see that Jessica, the Penn State intern, is going to talk about her work on the 5-year climate action plan. And I'm just curious, is that the same? I heard from someone else who's very into trees, and they mentioned that Allegheny County is working on a climate action plan. So I'm just curious if the one that Jessica is going to talk about is the same as that. I see that number 11, the ad hoc deer committee is going to talk about increasing the fines for violations of feeding wild animals. I would like to encourage that committee to report during a future meeting on comments that were made during last year's public meeting. I'm very concerned that the people who took the time to attend that meeting, and my husband and I were 2 of them, that our concerns are not in front of that committee. And so I think that that committee should have those comments that were made at that meeting and report on them at a future borough meeting so that all of the public has access to that information. And finally, I've heard that the last appeal on the Amazon Hillwood proposal has ended. And therefore, there is no longer, to my knowledge, any pending legal action. And I would therefore like for the people who are on the council who voted to approve Hillwood and Amazon's proposal to report to the borough on your reasons for doing that. I know that you spoke at the meeting when you voted, but you really did not disclose very much information. And I think that there should be a full disclosure of that now that those appeals have ended and there is no longer pending legal action. I think you need to be open with the residents, especially with an upcoming new owner on the horizon. Okay, thank you very much.
Hey, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy. Yeah.
Hey, Ken. Hey, Ken.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, my comments are real brief here. I wanted to thank everyone who helped to make for a successful Arbor Day event, which was the first time we did such an event on Saturday, April 27th. Particularly want to thank Mayor Gamrat and his wife Patty for participating, and Deb Cassini Klein for coming and taking a lot of photographs. Appreciate the staff getting the word out on Savvy Citizen, because we ended up, my fear when we set up the event back in March was that we wouldn't get enough people to plant all the trees that the land trust had available, for the Churchill Valley Greenway. But we ended up with more than 30 people. We had some families involved as well too. So it was a very good success, thanks to a lot of people participating. And the other thing I wanted to comment is that based on the last newsletter issue that was about a month or 6 weeks ago, between the borough office and myself, we've received 4 phone calls from residents asking for help to save trees in various situations. And usually it happens maybe once or twice a year, but I'm actually very encouraged by having a range of citizens calling on a variety of issues, looking for help trying to save their trees. And so the newsletter really serves a very valuable purpose, because that's where all the residents told me that they got the information. We mentioned Happy Tree issue, call the borough office. So I just wanted to make folks aware that with both the Arbor Day event and the folks calling to have their tree situations reviewed, that's helping us head in the right direction. And finally, I'm working with our tree committee members. Now that we had the Arbor Day event, we can actually file for Tree City USA application.
Yeah.
I would have to work with the borough office in doing that, particularly in putting the financial piece together. But I think we can do it. But there's a team of us who are going to be working on that here in the coming weeks. So thank you very much.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you. Sure, you can say something about that.
And I just want to add on to what Ken just said. Ken, I'm not sure if you got the message from Danny Kramer, who sent it out today that this Wednesday, I believe it is, 5/8 at 5 p.m. They're going to be back down on the land trust property to had a group of kids down there to plant some trees in the path that weren't properly planted. So the holes aren't deep enough. Have to make the holes a little bit deeper. Unfortunately, I'll be out of town and be when I do myself. But if anybody wants to join that group, it's this Wednesday, 5/8, 5 p.m. The program is Danny Kramer.
Thank you. Kathleen. Hi, Kathleen, please state your name and your address when you get a chance. Thank you.
Hi, this is Kate Kerrigan Hill, and I live at 1441 Beulah Road. And several weeks ago, maybe a month or more ago now, I came home one night late, dark, and there was this massive PennDOT sign in my yard. It was huge. And it was funny that evening. It was not funny the next morning when I was trying to get out of the driveway, and we have 3 drivers in the house. So I want to thank everyone that got involved, starting with Nicolette Armstrong, who got a hold of the mayor, who in turn, he and I spoke, and then he had Deb here and Diane here. I know Michelle was somehow involved as well, trying to reach PennDOT, and I know that Abigail Salisbury's office was reached as well. And it was really cool to come home one day and find that it was out of the yard. So I really appreciate everyone's help. Thank you.
Thank you. No, it was a danger. I mean,
Absolutely.
we went ourselves to go, we even pulled into her driveway and, pretended we're pulling out, and it's like, no, she can't. This is too difficult. And it's just definitely a big danger. So I'm glad, and sometimes it takes time to get things done, but I mean, we were happy that it got done very quickly. So, but thank you for
Local government
calling.
work.
What's that?
Local government work.
That's right.
That's right.
Sometimes it does work. But I'm glad to hear that, Kate.
All right, any other hands online? No. All right, we will close public comment. And we'll move on to number 3. Acknowledge the receipt of the draft meeting minutes from April 1st workshop meeting and the regular council meeting held on April 8th. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
That's
Thank
okay.
you for reminding
Yeah,
me.
but we could do that first.
Okay. Thank you for Any questions on that?
No.
All right.
And then there's the-
And now, I'm sorry, we will move on to Jess. And she is gonna talk about the local climate action plan.
Super excited about this, Jess. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy that everybody's happy with it. It's just a draft. It'll be completed further with Eric from Connect and obviously contributions from Churchill, but I hope that it's what everybody wanted. You guys wanted a short, usable local climate action plan, one that wasn't 85,000 pages. So I think we got it down to 10 or so pages. I think we left out. But so it just basically contains, for people on the phone, I don't know if they had it or whatever, but it just contains like cursory knowledge of climate change, greenhouse gas inventories, vulnerabilities and resiliency specific to Churchill. And then some government actions that we have in here, as well as a comprehensive resource list for the residents of Churchill to go through for money saving, climate change, education, things of that nature. So Kathy, to answer your question earlier, this is entirely separate from Pittsburgh. It is a localized specific to your borough, and it's designed to improve local resiliency and probably more importantly, it's also designed to get you guys some grant money for some major projects.
Right.
Because you guys are tiny and you'll need it. So just like a quick rundown, really basic government actions. You guys have already done a great job with, I mean, without any like formal direction or anything, you've done a great job trying to, improve your energy efficiency. You installed EV chargers. You're moving forward with solar panels. I know Michelle and I have talked about like updating the boiler and replacing the windows and installing rain barrels and things like that. It's all excellent steps. But so this climate plan is focused on, I think there's like 20 or so things in here that Churchill can do in the future for the next 5 years that you guys can focus on. And I also included some financing opportunities just in case. But again, like this list is not complete or comprehensive. It can expand. You don't necessarily have to do the things that are in there. They're just some ideas that you guys can work off of. But yeah, I think that's basically the document.
Well, I'd like to jump in. I mean, we've been working with Jess she just graduated from Penn State 2 weeks ago. But this is part of her year project, and being the chair of the climate action, this is how this all started with the Climate Action Committee and with Connect. So we connected with Connect and brought together, and we were very fortunate to have Jess, and she's been working on this for the entire school year. The first half was collecting data just to find out what's going on in our nice little borough. And then the second part was putting it together. And basically, it's twofold. It's giving our residents we're gonna just give them some practical tips on how they can improve on their energy sources and ultimately save money. And then also, as you said, when you have a climate action plan like this and we go out to get grants, because that's where we can get a lot of our money, hopefully, when they see that we've already done X, Y, and Z, and we're working toward, making improvements in our borough, that really says a lot. And that, that was really a sticking point with us where we thought, this is a good idea to do this. And I can't thank you enough. You've done a fantastic job with the research. I know, Ashley and Michelle were, very helpful in trying to give you as much, information as they could. And Jess has been on, a few meetings with us and with Climate Action and with Connect. And we really appreciate all you did. And our residents will be able to read this. And like you said, nothing's written in stone, but it's just some really good information that we can move forward with.
Every little bit helps. That's one thing that you have to understand with climate action. Every little bit helps.
Right.
And if
Right.
everyone does just a little bit, it's a
it will
cumulative
help.
effect.
Right.
And most importantly, that does put us at the top for grades.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
so I appreciate it, and you did a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
And
much.
congratulations on graduating.
Thank
you. Yeah.
Did you enjoy working for us?
I absolutely.
What's she gonna say, no?
We're small, and sometimes that means that you get a closer look at municipal government than you might otherwise.
Yeah, I had a great learning experience with you guys, and
Good.
I know I said this to Deb and Michelle and Ashley in the past, but like I really did not understand local government. It's entirely different from learning about it versus actually
Exactly.
seeing it work.
Yeah.
So this was excellent. I
Good.
really enjoyed myself. Hopefully I will be back.
We would love. Well, it really was a win-win. I know you learned a lot, this was your senior project, and it was so helpful for us to have someone working on this from, on a day-to-day basis. And, yeah, I'm just thrilled. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
I had a question about the draft. Is the draft published or will it just be published once it's final?
So we do have the draft in the binder.
Yeah, but like, I mean, like
Publicly.
online for people to view.
Yeah, I don't have it online yet. I was waiting to do it in the final version.
Final,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think one of the really valuable pieces for a resident is the last.
page.
Yeah.
Resident resource code, so
Yeah.
I'm excited to get that on our website.
Right.
Residents be able to click through and see what they can find out and utilize in their own homes. So, once we get the final version, I'll make sure we have that on our
Great.
website.
Because I think it's also super helpful for residents to know like, oh, these are the things that Churchill can do
Mhm.
Right.
in the next 5 years, like
Right.
get rain barrels. Like, I didn't think about that. Maybe
Mhm.
there's somebody here that really knows about rain barrels and wants to be involved or any of these other things.
Mhm.
Any residents. So I
Yeah.
think this is great.
But yeah, it's just a plethora of information and, like you said, there's so many resources here that this will help our residents if they have any questions or they can look into other things further and, this is terrific. Yeah.
the final version do?
That would be Jess's final version she's submitting to us.
Yeah, it's actually with Connect. Connect would provide the
Yeah.
final version,
Okay,
but
okay.
I'm probably gonna end up working with Connect again as an independent contractor, so I'll be around.
Do you have an estimated
Yeah, do you know about when?
We do not. We are hoping at the latest by the end of the summer,
Okay.
by
Yeah.
the latest,
Because
yeah.
Connect has to approve it, I'm
Right.
assuming. and-
It's implemented into their
Right.
Yeah.
charter thing, yeah. It's
It's a
multiple
process.
But
steps.
this
It is a process.
Basically
yeah.
it.
So I think happened, the last time we met, when Jess was there in climate, we went over this, he had a slide thing, and, when it was suggested that this be put as a draft for council. Just to review.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good the way it, as
Yeah.
it stands, that just everybody when council
Yeah, of course.
Right.
take a look at and then we put it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want everybody to take a look at your leisure, and just take a look at what all she's worked on for
Yeah.
a good 9 months or so.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, looks like you definitely did a lot of research.
Lot
And I
of
love that you're able to put some of those financing opportunities, which
Yes,
are key for us.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there's the green stuff and stuff we've already done.
Yeah.
Green is good.
Your last page, yes.
Thank you
Any
so
other-
much.
Thank you. Any
Actually,
other
well,
comments or
Diane-
thoughts?
Diane just brought up something I think we should do for our next newsletter. We should put this last page in the newsletter.
It's not a bad idea.
Because,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get better information than this.
No,
I agree.
You know,
Online on the
people right
newsletter.
now.
So let's remember that. Yeah.
It's yours now, you know?
Let's use resources.
Sources, so, yeah,
Good question.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I will see you all another day.
No, have a great night. Thank you.
I'll be in touch with you.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll move on to our next discussion item, acknowledging the receipts of any staff agency reports. Any questions, any comments regarding those? Ron, do you have anything?
Nope, I just turned the mayor's report in, so they're.
Okay.
I will say for the first time in a long time, I actually have a public library card now from the library, the Miller Library, so there are a lot of benefits of doing that.
Yeah.
So look at it, residents, if you get a chance, it's free, but there are other fringe benefits, including museums and other things you can do with having a free library card. So
Yep.
it's a great
Yeah.
way to engage the family and things to do around Pittsburgh. So I highly recommend doing it.
I personally use it for Libby, if anybody has heard of Libby. the
Yes,
app,
yep.
very great. I check out books and audiobooks and things.
Mhm. If you're sitting on Parkway East, you want Libby.
Yeah.
Property safety specialist submitted a new report as well, so if you want to take a look at that and see if there's any questions. After submits her report, we did get our tax collector report, she had a very good collection.
did.
She did?
Yeah, it's very notable.
Congratulations.
Yes.
We also had a report from WPJWA as well this month.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you wanted to.
To speak on,
mention
yeah.
anything.
I don't know if you want to speak on that. Yep.
It is
It's in the binder.
It's a binder, yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
And as always, there's a volunteer fire company.
Yep.
Those are all in the binder.
All right. Management and government, we didn't have anything, neither.
We just live all the time.
We do. We do.
Right.
So we'll move on to finance committee.
So, I will give wonderful ladies here, all the credit in the world for we actually have now a calendar. So we're not gonna be behind the eight ball this year. We have a perfect calendar of when things are supposed to be submitted, because we do not want to be on December 20th going like, oh no. So this is a great calendar. And I know that everyone's staff included will adhere to this calendar, so thank you so much for doing that. In the meantime, we have met with quite a few banks and Pliget included, just looking at the borough finances and what best ways we can manage our money, where we can make the most out of our money and have the best results as in customer service and the ability to move money and do all the things, because if you let anything lay stagnant too long, it becomes stagnant. So it's always good to look at these things. We had some great proposals that we'll be continuing to talk about, but I will tell you, like, our last Friday meeting was fantastic. So I'm very excited about some good ways that we can help the borough make money on our own money. So
Make your money work.
make the money where it counts. So we're doing great. And I can't thank everybody in this room enough. Brooke, Ashley, Michelle, and Val. I mean, we're doing our best here. And it's always tight, but we're making it work.
Thank you.
I'm gonna type.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, no. just kidding.
No, you're not allowed.
With the calendar, I gave it to the chair to review, so
Mhm.
she's still looking over
Yep.
that, but once that's finalized, I'll give that to all the department heads, and all the committee chairs too,
Great.
because they each have an integral part
Mhm.
in the calendar. So that'll be to everyone shortly. And also with the banking opportunities, right now, the finance committee is getting a lot of the proposals back.
Mhm.
Once we're looking at those, then they will make a recommendation to the entire council. and then
Great.
we'll Go through that official
Yep.
process.
Fun.
Hopefully this summer.
We got this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brooke, we got this, we got this. Thank you.
All right, moving on to the next public safety committee.
Yes, first thing business is that, We are interested in adopting a resolution to recognize National Police Week, which is May 12th to 18th, and that's an action we will be taking next Monday. In that regard, I want to acknowledge the fact that during the last week or two, there's been a lot in the newspaper about unfortunate incidents with police officers around the country. And it brings home the fact that, you know, that level of violence can happen anywhere, and that is one of the reasons why we are so grateful for the high quality of police services that we have there. So, then the resolution, I'm assuming everybody is good with that, yes?
Yep.
Okay. Then the other thing is, I want to show you something here, which is for fire. This is a program
77.
from 77. This is a program from the musical at Woodland Hills.
Yep. It's a
This
book.
is
It's a
the
book.
size- This is the size of the program,
That
okay?
is a book.
Any business or any service or any municipality that exists within the Woodland Hills School District is represented
That's
here.
amazing.
And every parent.
I want to tell you that we had two fabulous ads, one from the borough, thank you, and one from the fire department, which was a 2-page. Okay, so I'm grateful for that, and I hope that we can continue to have that kind of presence in the musical program next year, because that really is visible to many, many people in this region. So, thank you.
Thank you. And we'll move on to infrastructure.
Oh, there you go.
That's
Okay.
you.
Let's see. Well, first of all, you need to know that, in case you didn't know, we had just a really nightmare over on Brady. A contract that was not properly done. It was just awful. So a lot of our budget for this year, for the repaving is gonna have to go to take the whole thing
Take it
down to the
down.
base.
Yeah.
So, and I'd encourage you all to take a look at what that costs. Okay, because it is a phenomenal expense to replace an entire section of road down to the
Is
base.
that this part McCready or?
Yeah,
Okay.
do you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah, I can give a quick update. The full depth reconstruction, unfortunately, most of Churchill Borough does have concrete subbase underneath. In that case, that road was milled and paved, test rolled, number of items, but does appear that that subbase is what is failing, and that's why we have to do full depth reconstruction. We've talked in infrastructure committee about potentially setting up every 5 years or within a capital plan to replace some of that subbase as we proceed. In this case, there's one specific area. It's due to a number of factors: water underneath the road, stop sign coming down a steep slope, just old infrastructure, which is why it's required in this specific location. So that's the that would be expected to be the base bid of the contract, with an ad alternate for just the north portion of Bridgewood. There's two portions of Bridgewood as it enters into Wilkins. North portion of Bridgewood is a shorter extent, and as Ralph has mentioned, he's unable to even kind of repair or keep it together at this point because there's so little road. Based on performing the ad alternate bid with the base bid, that provides the council flexibility in the award at the end of the day. And those costs have been reviewed with the infrastructure committee, and I believe that was shared with finance as well to kind of review what could be incorporated with this year's budget. And the intention for why we do have it on the agenda for a motion to approve advertisement, because in order to kind of meet the point of having it bid prior to the June meeting, it
Yeah.
would actually need to be in the paper this Thursday.
Okay.
So that's why we do have it on. It's a motion for this evening.
So let's see.
Shared with the entire finance committee, because I don't remember getting any information about full in-depth reconstruction.
We didn't have an actual like
We don't have,
bidding.
we don't have
numbers.
bidding numbers, 'cause it wasn't out yet.
Call rough numbers of what we were comfortable, seeing them being.
Yeah, there's no dollar amount yet.
Yeah, it has not been bid yet.
Yeah.
Essentially, this is just, we have some estimates,
Just-
but it's
Yeah. Send it
trying
out
to
to-
look at what could fit into those numbers that were provided.
Sure. And if you can send those to me, because I don't remember receiving those numbers. So that I can see them, because I know that in the past, we had talked about trying to use the liquid fuels money and stay within that budget, for any kind of paving projects that we're looking to do. So hopefully, we're still on that. Yeah.
So with the ad alternate included, it would go a little above our liquid fuels amount. Yes. Which I did look at the numbers of the budget, and that was feasible for this year. So for Ralph's recommendation, for Dennis's recommendation, the ad alternate, if we can continue on that path, would be appropriate to do.
Yeah, if you could just send it to me so I can have the information.
Okay, let's see, we also have, one second. Okay. Oh. I did, okay. I move to, adopt a resolution for National Public Works Week. Oh, the paving program.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Okay, all right, I move to adopt the plan for the full in-depth reconstruction of McCready Road. What is it? Oh, have it
Just
advertised.
advertise it.
I'm
Just
sorry. I move to have the borough manager advertise the 2024 paving program. It's 2024 paving program, full in-depth reconstruction of McCready Road and add alternate North Ridgewood Drive.
There a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
One opposed?
Oh,
Are
okay.
you,
Okay, where's Jay?
yeah, what was that?
Aye.
He said aye.
You said I, okay.
And Michelle, you're gonna talk about the Turtle Creek Valley cog letter, correct? Okay.
So as a member of the Turtle Creek Valley COG, there is a letter that has been generated by them in order to urge the potential new owners or purchasers with, I'm trying to remember the name, Nippon Steel, which are international-based steel company, urging them to keep the Mon Valley Steel entity in Western Pennsylvania. So if we were signing on this letter, it would saying that we agree that we would like to see Mon Valley Steel continue production and keep their headquarters in Western Pennsylvania. I'm bringing this in front of council because they requested that I, the borough manager, sign it and wanted to make sure that there is a consensus and that was agreed upon. So, and this is going to be sent to the president.
Which is the first time I think about it.
This was, I learned about this at the last COG meeting, and every municipality that belongs to either the Turtle Creek Valley or the Steel Valley COG is going to be named on this letter. So it was important for everybody to know that it was being sent, why it was being sent. And our name will be on the letter going to the president, trying to save our steelers.
Where are they with that sale? With the tip and I, where are they with the sale?
So it looks like it will be the Nippon Steel.
It will, so it has
Yes.
moving
I mean,
forward.
it's not finalized,
Okay.
signed on the dotted line, but it most likely will be them. Also with the letter, just having an understanding of the importance of keeping jobs local and how many jobs Mon Valley Steel has and how many people it employs. I believe it's like 8,000 people it said in this letter, which we've seen the impact of steel companies closing on communities or utterly devastating. So if we would have the Mon Valley closed, I understand there's a lot of environmental effects that also is addressed in the letter as well, to urge them to do various environmental studies to help individuals with asthma and different stuff like that. So just the understanding importance of keeping that job local.
So my, I'm looking at the comment regarding the potential sale. And so this is being signed and sent when, I did read the letter, but I'm still asking the question of regarding the potential sale. So the letters are to reach the president prior to the sale, after the sale,
Prior to.
Prior to the
During the
sale.
approval process.
during the approval process. So then what everybody is asking for may or may not come into fruition. Thank you.
And this Nippon Steel does not have any headquarters.
In the
That's
United
right.
States.
And Nippon Steel is right, the largest steel producer, right? So they're just eating up
It
US
is.
steel now.
It is.
And as a result, if I'm just following this in and to the point, there's a number of approval processes through Congress that have to take place, right? Including some within Defense Act, I mean, it's all over the place because of the implications of this. And so it's simply, I think, a local position to say, hey, don't forget about the other thing, which is that there are real people with real lives and real jobs that are here in Western PA who are affected by this.
All right. We didn't talk about discussing the resolution for the National Public Works Week.
Oh, yes. So that's same thing. We'll have a resolution next week to recognize, National Public Works Week.
May 19th through the 25th. Great. Thank you. And now we'll move on to Communication Committee.
Okay, well, we are going to be implementing a policy with the Yagle Room that, Michelle, and you can talk a little bit more about it in details, but, the reason being, we want to just be more organized. So more, more people can come in and use our Yagle Room, but we need things on paper so that it's in an orderly fashion, and just make it easier for everyone. And Kathy Bordner had asked about that, and there will be,
Is there a
calendar on.
Is there a calendar on there now? There is.
There is, yeah, there is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
So is there a problem with the calendar?
No, but we have a lot more, stipulations that we need to put into place.
Right.
Like sometimes people use it and they just trash it and they don't,
Policies.
a lot of you would.
Okay,
be
I'm
surprised.
just saying that
Yeah.
because I used it
Mhm.
and all of those policies were in line and they were followed, as well as knowing that the calendar was there. So currently, whose responsibility is it to make sure that all of those steps that people are signing, that they're adhering to it? Because to come up with another set of policies.
Well, we're also
that-
going to be implementing fees as well,
Okay.
rental fees. So that's a different thing
Okay.
than we used to have.
Yeah.
Which will.
Can we discuss those fees or?
I mean, we can-
Discussing
we
this, what are the fees and what are you looking
It's
for?
in the binder, I asked them to give it a draft of policy as well. It's important to understand that Louis Yeagle did leave some stipulations that were required to follow
Right.
in his will, so those have to be
Adhere.
adhered to.
Mhm.
So there won't be any fees for like the stamp club and their usage and stuff like that, but we can have rental fees for nonprofits and residents. Right now I have that $50 a fee for usage for non-resident or nonprofits and residents.
Okay.
Business, for-profit and non-residents is $100 rental fee.
And this isn't per rental, this
The
is
suggested fee,
for
right?
the year.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that?
Yes,
They were
I think
suggested
this
fees,
brings-
not
Suggested.
the.
Yeah.
this isn't written in stone
Yeah,
yet.
this is just a discussion.
Yeah, just,
Right.
yeah.
It's just a discussion right now.
Mhm. Right.
There's also a cleaning deposit fee.
Yeah.
There have been a
Okay.
lot of.
Yeah, there was nothing before.
Yeah.
Right.
And unfortunately, Ralph would come in the next day and he has seen garbage everywhere, and then that is his time and energy, or Ashley's time and energy, admin of some sort that has to clean it up, because we know the lace club's gonna be the next day.
Right.
Right,
So unfortunately, there's a lot of sometimes cleaning that has to go on. However, if you're renting it and you're cleaning it afterwards, you will get that feedback.
Right. We're just making people more
So this
comfortable, I
is what
think.
the $50 and the $100
No.
fee is for. This is
What's the
separate.
cleaning deposit fee?
50.
So you get
In
that.
addition- in addition
And
to,
you will get that back. if you
Okay.
Keep the room in clean condition the way you found it.
Okay,
However, if you're renting it and you are a non-resident, it's $100.
$100.
For like a one-time birthday party or something like that.
but you can use it many times for that $100. It's not,
okay,
it's not per event.
okay, so let's, thank you.
It's per rental.
Per rental.
Rent-
It's per rental.
Rental.
So it's
Per
not per
event.
year.
So
No.
per rental, from my interpretation, would be
Per-
every
per
time you
occasion.
rent the Jaeger room, you pay the fee. So if I'm a resident, I pay $50 plus a $50 cleaning fee. At the end of the event, once, administration or staff looks and makes sure that the room is returned
You get your money
appropriately,
back.
I get the $50
$50
back,
back.
but you
Right.
keep the 50.
Mhm.
You keep it,
Correct.
so
The
it
borough
would be
keeps
50/50 for us, no matter what, and then.
So it would be
50 back.
$100 for a resident,
Mhm.
$50 for the rental fee, $50 for the cleaning fee. At the end of the event, $50 is returned back to you. So
If you clean it.
if you
If you
clean
clean
it.
it.
You have to clean it if you want your money back.
Yeah, exactly.
So then the $50, the fee, not the cleaning fee, is applied to what, to where are we gonna put
It'll
that in
go
the
right
budget?
Back to the Jaeger.
It goes back to the Jaeger room
Mhm.
budget or whatever.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's explaining it clearly to our constituents.
You know, a
Okay.
lot of maintenance and upkeep and there's
Wonderful.
things that we need to.
Upgrade, whatever. Yeah, yeah.
So I have a question, based on past usage, has there been any anticipated revenue? Have you done any calculation to say, how many residents use it opposed to non-residents to be able to budget?
So that's kind of a tricky question. We've had
Okay.
inquiries of non-residents wanting to use it.
Okay.
But just discussing with president, solicitor, I wasn't particularly comfortable with running it out yet until the
Yeah.
policy was
That's right.
finalized and I had guidelines to back me up.
Sure. That's right.
So, but I know Aki's been getting more and more questions about wanting for us. Previously, we weren't really non-residents either, so I don't know that we are implementing the fee and the policy.
Right.
Doesn't make it more.
Okay.
more people.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question about that because I may be under a wrong impression, but my understanding was that in his will, he said it was for the use of borough residents.
Well, from what I gathered, I believed it was a community center.
Right.
It didn't specify residents.
Well, we need
Can
to
we
look at
find
that.
out to
We
make
need to look
sure
at that.
to get the wording for that, to make sure,
We can find out.
Okay.
No, we haven't.
And then if we are gonna go outside of residence, like you say, make a,
Because I believe
Change it.
the exact wording is, and I got it from the top, the Yates Community Center for Education and Recreation Purposes.
Okay.
recreation.
That could be anything.
And
That's a pretty
anything.
broad term.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
it was.
But it says in the
Yeah.
policy, no alcohol.
Mhm.
Oh, it does
Yes,
already
yes,
say
yes,
that in the.
yes.
Well, you know, I don't drink anyway.
I mean, but
did.
But anyway.
No, wait a minute, somebody did have wine in there one day. I'm not gonna say the event that it was.
Well, we have a new policy.
So, yeah, so,
Well, and we also have a right of refusal
Mhm.
if there's something that we feel
you
is
know what I'm talking about, almost, do you?
it's not appropriate.
Correct,
It's
yeah,
not
we're not gonna
appropriate.
let something cloud.
Something crazy.
There's no policy about it right now.
There was no policy about that,
Correct.
but it's in the,
It's in the draft policy that's in the binder.
It has been a long standing policy with the alcohol in there.
Right.
The garden club was using, and I'll say that they were drinking alcohol. We were told by the lab.
they were the only ones.
It's on a period, you better have no alcohol. As president, I said, no alcohol. They weren't happy with it, but no alcohol means no alcohol. So, yeah, that has been in it for a while. Not to say someone's not sneaking in.
Okay.
People want to lie.
We're not gonna have staff to go wherever and shut it.
This is.
Some little tweaks that I do need to make to the policy. I was gonna get that done, get it over to Gavin, get
Okay.
his final eyes on it, and then that would be on the regular agenda workshop.
Okay. I really have to, I'd love to see that too.
And wasn't part of it that the amount of money that was left has dwindled over the years.
Right.
So in order for us to maintain the room,
That's, wow.
the carpet needs to be replaced, different things.
The AC needs to be replaced.
So we got, yeah, we need to,
Just
Right.
form the
we
AC.
need this revenue to help for that.
How many times a year is it, used? You have an idea, a count or any?
Yeah, well, we have our constants that use it.
Clubs that use it.
Yeah, garden club, lace club, there's 2 book clubs.
The clarinet.
Clarinet.
Mhm.
How many times yearly? Do you have a yearly?
Usually once a month.
Weekly.
Weekly, some of them weekly.
Yeah.
Weekly, so,
The library.
NC rec board meets there.
okay.
Yeah.
NC.
It's popular.
Okay, so,
Will be more popular. I talked to the communication committee about this. For those entities that are using it weekly, I feel like
Too
the
flat.
fee, yeah, it's just, okay,
It's too
you're not gonna
much.
have to do $50 every time.
so that's what you were talking about.
That's what I was telling you.
Could it then even be a good idea to, for those that are using it weekly, to perhaps have a yearly
That's what we're thinking of doing.
of some
Yep,
kind of
everything
flat,
flat.
Yeah,
Yep, we're gonna flat.
versus, you know, yours just be, what is it, because you're a resident, nonprofit is $50, and then any time, but perhaps make theirs a little bit higher than that, that would cover for the year. That you can come up with,
Right.
say,
Flat fee.
some type of flat fee, like what, $50, and that they're there every week. So you're saying 4 times 5 is $20, no, $200 a month,
Yeah, well,
200
that's too
times
much.
12.
Right.
And so you take
No.
and you get the better number in between there somewhere to make it doable for the year, as
Right.
opposed to just saying you pay $100 for the year, no. Do the math.
Because if they're using it more, that means there's gonna be more damages and more
Exactly.
things.
But now would it also be the $50 cleaning fee every week for them?
No.
So, well, you're saying no, but then if Ralph, again, is defeating the purpose, if Ralph has to go in there clean behind whomever.
The problem, and we can get into, in the committee should be, the problem is that for years and years and years and years, we've had a certain number of organizations like the Garden Club, like the
Yeah.
Bottle Club, like those things, and they've been coming here as after the building was built. They've been coming here for free for years. And I'd have a problem with charging our community organizations that are used to using that building, unless there's some kind of a problem that costs us money. We never have any mess left from them. In fact, they leave things here for other people to use. So I've asked that we consider that carefully.
And I think the communications committee, once they meet,
Yeah,
we could take those things into consideration. So if there's any thoughts and ideas that you think about, please email those to the chair.
yeah.
And it's almost a little bit better to say, to start out with that instead of just a flat no. Okay,
Sure.
put the reason why on the table, and then at least you suggest it as opposed to just a flat out no, until we get feedback from Ashley and Michelle as to, we're doing this because when they are here,
Right.
they leave this way.
Absolutely.
So just to say, no, let's talk it out.
That will
We can
take
do that.
care of it.
I'll take care of it.
Just to give you an example, I've been in the room when the lake comes in there, or when the blues people in there. They're basically just sitting there, you know, doing their needlecraft thing. Same thing with the clarinet. They're just sitting around practicing. They're not eating in there, they're not messing things up. So in that case, a cleaning fee, I don't think is necessary for a group
For every
like that.
occasion.
But we want to be fair and equitable
Exactly,
for
because-
everybody,
exactly.
so that's something that the communication committee can discuss, and if you have any thoughts or idea, please email Deb and it
The
can
only
be
garden club is routed.
so that they can take that into consideration.
Right, we're still tweaking.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not running, yes. But
Yep.
something does need to be done where it's more organized.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, right. So we're still in the process. Newsletter is due, all our ideas, everything is due by the end of the month, May 31st. So, if anybody has any articles they want to submit, send them over, Ashley, Michelle, or myself. And, that's about it. I don't know if you needed to say anything about the newsletter. No, but
We're on pace, we're on pace.
we're on pace,
We're on
yeah.
pace.
Right, summer, I don't know, summer, I know Ralph submitted some grilling tips on safety with
Fire
grilling.
safety for
I mean,
grills.
he also did with fireworks, but I'm not sure if the newsletter will come out before 4th of July. So I don't
You can
want to
still
put,
put 'em in, 'cause
I don't
people
want to
look
put
things all the
fireworks
time.
tips in it. So we're not 100% sure when it will come out. It will be the first week of July.
That's our goal.
That's our goal. But sometimes the goal isn't always right. So, but if you do have any other,
Well, just so we know, the council and that, and the chief, fireworks legal, not legal?
You could go on pretty much any airborne fireworks are illegal. And then there's certain criteria for fireworks in general of being in a residential area, distance from homes and whatnot, but all the airborne stuff primarily is. But if, I always put a link, there's a link you can go to the PSP website that specifies everything in detail, but you can rest assured if it's airborne, it's pretty much.
Mhm. But if any of you have any summer ideas that you want for the newsletter, this is the time. Start writing it or sending it to me. Right, or to Ashley or Michelle, you know, the group effort. A good, maybe a good summer recipe. That's not a bad
I got
idea.
some really good ceviche recipes.
Right.
Mhm. I like that.
Sangria.
Not in the egg room.
Threw the garden club under the bus.
Now we know.
All right, well, moving on to our next topic, ad hoc deer committee.
Yes, two issues here. One is, we want to discuss adopting a motion to amend section 133-4 feeding wild game, which is in our code. Andrea suggested this and
Yes.
she's absolutely right. One of the things that's widely understood is if you have a concentration of deer in your neighborhood, chances are real good that someone is feeding the deer who lives near you. And we've not been able to enforce this because we haven't had a code enforcement officer. And frankly, the other difficult thing is that neighbors are not likely to turn each other in. So unless we have someone who actually sees the feeder, that's a problem. So I think that, however, people are concerned enough about deer that if we take this action to provide an incentive for people to have their bird feeders high enough off the ground that the deer can't reach them, which is the purpose of this ordinance, then they may leap up into the air and, you know, but it is absolutely an action that we can take, and I certainly would recommend it, and thank you, Andrea, for suggesting it.
It's simple. I mean, in Blackridge, there was a bird feeder that was very low, and I watched every deer come over, like it was graze, every deer, like 15 deer, and then all of a sudden everything fell down, rats came.
Yes.
So it's not just a one thing problem. So I love feeding birds. Please have a bird feeder. I'm not saying no to that, but just make it a little higher up. Also, please don't cut up apples and hand to the deer, things like that.
That is the biggest problem.
You're drawing wildlife to houses, and then when that happens, they become really too comfortable with people, and they come closer and closer to houses. And next thing you know, they're eating your hosta, the person next door, because they're not afraid of being in houses. So you shouldn't feed wildlife anyway. It's really a safety issue more than anything. So I just think that doing this to say no, and there is a financial penalty for doing this, a real one, not $20, you know, like a real financial penalty will hopefully discourage people from doing this and understand that we are not here. I'm not saying go out and kill Bambi. I'm just saying, please don't feed Bambi, you know.
What's that financial repercussion?
We were looking at, what was 150? 150.
Yeah.
Just so people.
Yeah, about 150.
Yeah.
Right now, it's a minimum of $25, maximum of $50 for each offense. You're saying no minimum, and the maximum will be $150 for
violation.
Yes,
And keep in mind, you are covering at least theoretically the cost of the enforcement of the ordinance.
exactly.
Yeah.
Scott had to do that.
That's exactly right. That's why I had to. Yeah.
So what is going to be what is gonna be you need a picture?
That's what I was, that was.
That was the next question. Yes.
So how are we going to
Right.
enforce this? How are we
Right,
gonna
so
prove this?
enforcement, we're using Scott, so if Scott sees a bird feeder that's my height, which I'm only 5'4", and it's here, then he would first knock on the door and say, move it.
As opposed to the.
Well, and the people feeding, that's the next thing, but like you see, if Scott, when driving around as a code enforcement, sees a bird feeder that's low, he will have the ability to say, hey, can you just move it up? This is the code. If it's not moved up, then he'll be fined. Secondly, if somebody sees, including a neighbor, we're looking at, if you take a picture, to your point.
You need a picture.
Yeah, exactly. I need
Of course,
physical proof,
proof.
because I don't want you being mad at your neighbor and saying they're feeding deer. You know, that's.
No,
It's
we
not
have something for it. It's not feeding. Because my concern really is the bird feeder height.
According to our ordinance right now, it has to be at least
5 feet. It's already, there's already an
So
ordinance.
there's already.
There's already an ordinance. We're not changing the ordinance.
Yes.
We're not changing the ordinance.
If you really
Enforce
The
it.
5 feet, that's no problem with the
Yeah.
5. Okay,
Mhm.
so what are you looking to change the
Just,
code?
no, just
to
to
make it
change
higher?
the
The
amend this, the fee.
The fee,
For the
just the
fee, because
fee.
instead of $20 to 50, it would be 0 to 150.
So I still have a 5-foot bird feeder. You can't prove that the deer.
It
ate
doesn't
out
matter.
of
It's still
my-
5 feet. It's
Okay,
still a
yeah, 5
violation.
feet. So you can't prove that the deer ate out of my bird feeder.
It doesn't, that doesn't,
matter.
doesn't matter.
I'm not finished.
Yeah.
You can't prove that the deer ate out of my feeder, but you want me just for sake to lift my bird feeder higher.
Correct. Just like you need a railing, if nobody ever fell on your steps.
But this has,
You're
these
changing
are two,
the
no,
height.
these are two
No.
separate things.
Yeah.
These are two separate things. The bird feeder ordinance
It's pretty-
already exists.
Says 5, right?
Yes,
Yes,
correct.
that already exists.
Yes,
That has
right.
nothing to do
So we're
with,
not changing that.
No problem.
This-
So it's not gonna change.
No,
No, we're
no,
not
no, no,
changing
no.
No, thank you. But
that's
is-
what
Yes,
I'm
no,
trying
that's
to
not changing.
clarify.
It's the same thing. So if I have a bird feeder, unless you see the deer eating or someone.
The bird feeder and the deer are two completely separate
Yeah,
ordinances.
Totally separate thing.
That's what I'm trying to clarify for you. Those are two completely separate things.
So I can keep my 5-foot bird. feeder.
Yes,
You're good with your
absolutely.
5-foot
I'm
bird
done.
feeder.
I'm good.
Yeah, you're good to go with 5 foot. You're good to go.
You're good.
to
This
I'm
is,
not putting it there because it is a problem with the bird feeder and like you were saying.
Yeah.
Deer. So leave my
Yes.
bird feeder.
Your
alone.
bird feeder's fine. She's 5 foot up. You're good to go.
like you've mentioned, we didn't have anybody to enforce it in the past, that past ordinance of the 5-foot bird feeder. We
Right.
have Scott now. So
Right.
he's able to be more active about that.
Right.
And the
Yeah.
biggest thing we're discussing right now is discussing the adoption to change it from $25 to $50
If
to
you're
a
feeding.
flat rate
Just
to
the fee.
$150.
Or the bond.
If
Max.
you are caught feeding deer either by Scott or there is some photographic evidence
The
of
neighbor.
a neighbor or something feeding the deer.
Actively feeding.
Or you have a bird feeder that's less than 5 feet tall.
Oh, okay, there's the piece of it does
Mhm.
work together.
It's in conjunction.
So if your
Well,
bird,
it's-
so if your feeder is less than 5, is that 100? What's the fine for that?
It'll be the same.
It's a fine for, it covers all the violations.
So it is the same thing. You pick up your
No.
bird feeder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
you
move your
got
bird feeder
bird.
up. Keep it. Just go to
Keep it
5 foot,
five
5 foot, 1 inch.
It is the same thing. Clarification understood. Thank you.
Any other comments?
The only thing I'll note is that because this is part of the code, it's not something that can be done by motion or by resolution, so we actually have to prepare an ordinance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
advertise-
Whole thing. Oh, we know.
So you'll vote to advertise that ordinance next week, and then you'll vote on the actual ordinance itself in here.
You got it. Yep.
Thank you for clarifying that.
I just wanted to comment too, because I feel like we could, in the admin side, maybe get some of these concerns. Scott will just be observing bird feeders from the right of way.
Exactly. It's not gonna creep in your backyard. I mean,
Did they already discuss it can't go on
yeah,
property?
right,
Yes.
right. Yeah, you're not gonna have
Right.
Scott in the bushes, like
No.
check. Yeah.
Then someone would call Ron and say, who?
There's
is
some-
Yeah,
it?
then how long is all this Scott's creeping?
I had to do that.
Is there for this under 4 feet for the bird feeder, is there a fee, a fine for that or no? Or-
It's under the same.
Same thing.
Everything's gonna be- Yeah, thank you.
Okay, then tomorrow evening, the ad hoc deer committee is meeting, getting input from members. We have an agenda that covers everything that we're going to get done. And one of the things we'll be discussing is the timing of trying to be realistic, the timing of a public meeting, which will be massively advertised. And at that point, we'll have the opportunity to hear from all of our residents, any of our residents, about what we're planning.
Great.
And I would just mention one thing, so that people understand. Blackridge is a good example. We know that there are two people in Blackridge who live in the Penn Hills area who have an open feeder for deer. They live, like 2 doors away from people who live in Churchill. There's nothing we can do about that, right? This is an
Does
example.
Penn Hills have an ordinance?
They do.
They do, but again, it's a matter of enforcement.
Right,
They have a big
Not
territory
enforced.
to cover.
right.
Okay? All right.
Before, I have a question also on the ad hoc that Kathy made point to. She said last year there was a public meeting. I didn't go to that.
Yeah.
meeting. Are there minutes from that meeting?
Matt and I did that meeting and I think there were minutes, but I don't know where they are.
I
in
know
our
we
How did
tried,
you get them?
we tried to record
We
it,
tried,
and
it wasn't
there
recording.
was a technical issue,
Yeah.
we couldn't record it, but there
Because of the sound.
Yes.
was something,
because
yeah.
there was
I can
no-
tell you what the consensus was.
The consensus? No, I just wanted to see the minutes themselves. I wanted to see it
Yeah.
because I wanted to see what the
The
like,
comments were said.
exactly
Well, we-
comments and the agenda.
We had hoped to have it recorded, as Deb said,
Okay.
and
And it wasn't
that didn't
recorded,
work
yeah.
out, so we were taking cursory
Notes,
notes, but
right.
it wasn't like a meeting with minutes.
Right.
What we wanted was to have like, I mean,
When
for
everybody was
the
talking.
public to have
Yeah,
a
it was very
conversation.
open.
So you
forum.
had notes does anybody have any notes?
I think I still have notes somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we were jotting
Yeah,
down.
I have a
notes,
couple.
people.
I'm happy to have a conversation
Yeah.
with you about.
No, not a
exactly
conversation
what
with me. I'm
happened.
just talking about our constituent spirit. What was
Yeah.
the outcome? Was there an outcome of that
No,
meeting?
there
Was
wasn't-
there
there was-
anything done? Did anything come out of that
The
meeting?
outcome was, if I can summarize.
Yeah.
The outcome was, everybody has a problem with not everybody.
Okay.
Not everybody has a problem with the deer.
Okay.
There are people who do not want us to do anything about the deer because they love the deer. There are people who definitely want us to do something about the deer, but they recognize that it's gonna be difficult to do anything about the deer. So
Most do not want to kill the
my
deer.
my
That was not-
takeaway from it was that we're all in this together. We all have a big problem. What we're trying to deal with in the committee is, first of all, getting facts about what is dangerous or not dangerous about having deer in our community, like ticks. And secondly, what are the best practices, best ideas for helping people to preserve their yards, their shrubbery.
That was the
flowers.
biggest concern.
That was
People
by far. the
overwhelmingly upset about the deer eating their,
Destruction of property.
right,
Right,
so
so that's.
we're trying to
that was-
find ways to mitigate that.
Now,
If
So-
I can point out, if I recall, the conversation that happened after the meeting, it's the only thing I'm good at is recalling conversations. I can't remember anything else for the life of me. But the takeaway, and I think this is something that the public should understand, is that our community is split on kind of course of action. And so as a result, the process of, was there a takeaway that said we're going to do A or B? There was not, right? What the public hearing came away with was, holy crap, our community is absolutely split down the middle, which left us in a position to say, what are the other options? And
Right.
that's what drove to the sense of, well, let's take a look again and see what we can have. Now, the problem of a really evenly split community, I think, is that it leaves council in the precarious position, but the important position of having to make a decision that's going to piss off half of our constituency. Now, when you get to that point of making that kind of decision, right, you generally, which is what Diana, I think, astutely said, is you generally go back and go, let me get more information before I piss off half the community, right? Because honestly, we all are concerned about the vegetation and destruction, but there's a good chunk of us who go, and listen, Diane and I are not on the same page on this. So I know I don't want to speak out of turn, but I'm just saying, there are those of us who are probably more comfortable with a call and then a regional approach. right? Those who are more comfortable with starting with some more preventative measures that lead to a regional approach. You know, but how do you get there when this time goes through and you try and reassess? So I would just point out that I think, you know, what the committee is trying to do again is get the proper information so that when we make that decision, and we've gone through this a few times. I've been on 2 different deer committees. And most of the time we get to the point of inaction because the community is so split. Not because council doesn't want to do something, but because we end up in some kind of, half of them want to call deer, half of them don't want to do anything, and we end up in the frozen position. So I am just saying that the idea of getting proper information was the outcome of that. And then, you know, change over and delay, and here we are to try and get that information.
Thank you, Jay. I needed that piece because that then will lead into my question of the calling. I know people are against it and some are for it, so you get half and half.
I don't
And
even think it's half and
I
half.
don't even think
though.
it's quite that high.
Well, okay,
Most did not want to call.
Okay,
Let me
even though
clarify
most
just
don't.
for a
But
second.
allow,
It's
continue,
not a
Sharon.
call or not call.
There's
okay?
no, no, what
What
it is.
what is happening,
go ahead,
let me finish. What is happening is that we discovered during our investigation during the last year, that there's been more research done. Okay, there are more possible options. And also, there's a lot more understanding about the behavior and nature of deer and whether or not one action or another is actually effective. So that part of what our committee is doing is trying to get together that kind of current research, science-based, research-based, factual information, because the council had, it really was one of those, we-they things up till now. We wanted to change that and to bring in people who were really expert in these fields and come up with, for our community, the best practices and the best research that we were able to put together to guide what the council would do.
So I'm gonna say this, and I'm just gonna put it on the table because I'm going to say it. So I know that Pittsburgh has done the calling, and it has been particular people that I know that are landscapers and that do that. That currently their opinion of it is sort of inhumane. And so saying that for Churchill to take that approach that the city has taken, I see her point. Again, however, I also see that if while you're doing the research, that you look into it and see how can this be done humanly or humanely, in a sense. And I didn't know that I had a sister, what is it called? Animal Rescue League over here.
Yes.
Which I am totally against. And so I am going, and I'm saying it now, to reach out to Dan, a very, very dear friend of mine.
He's fantastic.
And talk to him about, just to give me, just to give me his feedback on this, because, to shoot a deer with a bow and arrow is not gonna kill him. And now you gotta find him. He's already suffering. But I just would like to see, because as Jay was saying, for us to sit on our hands because one side wants to and one side don't, while the sweet little Bambi is multiplying.
Yeah.
And I say it like that, Bambi is multiplying. And so eventually, be it 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we don't want the Bambi to overgrow us. And we have to end up doing something worse. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And so to have to maybe, there's another side to, while you all are working on the committee, there's another side to calling as opposed to rounding them up and taking them somewhere. She's saying no, but there's gotta be other ways. And I'm going to speak with Dan. He's a very sweet person. He's worked with the Animal Rescue League as well as, what is that other one up in Verona?
Oh, the wildlife.
The wildlife, and just get some of their
Well, please
ideas.
share with us.
I definitely will.
Yeah.
I definitely
I
will.
would just say this, as a classic example, what we're looking at is regardless of how you feel about killing or not killing, what's effective?
Exactly.
Like what's going to work.
Yes,
And I-
not temporary.
One of the things that I want to mention, I want to wrap this up because I don't want to, we've talked about this a lot, and I want to ensure that the ad hoc peer committee is able to present what they're able to present, is when we have these in-person meetings and we want residents to come.
Right.
I encourage residents who are on the fence, either that are in the middle, because there are people, usually at these events, at these that we hold. It's either gonna be people that don't want a cold
That's right.
or that do want to.
That's right.
There's nobody in the middle. Those people do not
Exactly.
show up, right?
No, they don't.
So I encourage residents, if you're in that middle,
Right.
please come and attend.
Yeah.
Please come and educate yourself,
That's it.
because that might lead you one way or another.
That's right.
And that might help council make a decision and make an educated decision and listen to all the residents. So I don't just want to hear, let's pull the deer, and I don't want to hear,
I won't do it.
No.
I won't do it. There
Yeah.
has to
Thank you.
be
Yeah.
something
An
in the middle,
education.
an education.
Right, that's what they're going for.
I urge residents, when that happens,
Yes.
we have an open forum for all residents, especially those in the middle, to
Yeah.
please attend.
Please come.
Well, there's also a financial
Mhm.
factor in this.
Yes.
Big
No
financial
matter
factor.
what we decide to
Yeah.
do, even if we don't do anything.
There is.
Right.
There's, you know, whether, you know, we've heard about birth control and this and that, or culling, and all this takes a lot of money, and
Yeah.
that's another thing we need to look at.
Yeah.
You know, is it worth, let's say we decide to do X, Y, or Z, is it worth it when in the end, it may not make much of a difference,
Yeah.
and we've spent all this money that we already don't have.
Taxpayer money.
So taxpayer money, and we don't want to do that either, so it's, you
Diane,
know.
we did a call, how long ago was that we did it?
Oh, that was like
And it was like
2008.
the USDA did it, and I think the price tag was roughly 25,000.
At that point, it was, so right now.
But what I can tell you is that they use, it is a humane process. They do it at nighttime. They do it with, for the block of better term, snipers that use scopes and night vision. They take the deer with one shot, they clean up after themselves, they harvest the deer, and then they donate the meat to homeless shelters. So it's not, not quite as bad as it sounds. Yeah, I didn't hear.
She said it was bad.
Okay.
Yes,
Right, yeah, right.
And I think the main point of the comment was that we had a public meeting and there was no report to state what happened during the public meeting. So when we do have public meetings.
There was
a
report.
A
report was in the newsletter.
It was in, maybe it was in the news.
Yeah, it was in the
Okay, so
newsletter.
that's back to the question,
Right.
where's the report?
It was in the newsletter.
So the
It was a
question
while
was just
ago.
asked, where was the report, or what was the information that came out of the meeting? Not what the decision was, but what was the consensus of those who attended, any questions that were asked, any minutes that were taken, and the original answer was none. Now
Right.
we're saying that there is one.
I-
So if
I-
you-
I believe there's a difference between where the minutes and was there a
And a
report,
report, those are two
Right,
different
two
things.
different things.
just to be clear.
So the report should include though, what the consensus was.
Well, that's
as far
up to
as
the
how many
committee chair.
people Attended, what were some of the comments from the community members,
Mhm.
what areas of the community were represented? That is information that you include in a report.
I mean, no, while I appreciate it, what you would put in your report, and I'm certain that that's what you will do for the reports of the meetings that you've had with other public officials. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm simply saying that, at least for me, I was the president, I'm not the president now, and I think the president dictates what goes in the report.
So you dictate what goes in the report, so the report is in the newsletter?
I believe
Or
it,
not.
there was a.
Summary.
There was a
Summary.
It was a summary.
Summary.
So the
It
summarized,
wasn't quote or-
no, so
Yeah.
the summarized summary? Because it wasn't a report, it was a
No,
summary.
it was a
It's
summary,
in a newsletter.
right.
Do you remember which one is it?
It was.
Somewhere.
Yeah, we have to look for
Look,
it.
that goes down and passes down to that end.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
To clarify and close this part of
Yeah.
the meeting out,
Thank you.
there was no report. There are no minutes. That
Thank
still stands true.
Yes,
There was a summary of what happened
right.
at it, but it's not a report and
No.
it's not minutes
Mm.
and it's not verbatim comments. So that
Correct.
is correct. What you said, that does not exist.
Right, it was an open forum, people just discussing, it was.
And it was just a
very
summary of what happened in
simple.
the newsletter, so we
Right.
can inform residents
Right,
that it happened and what. the
we're
summary was.
ongoing, doing research
Okay,
and.
okay, so we're gonna do the research and I'm gonna make sure that I get residents I'm gonna send it to the newsletter online. How about that?
Perfect.
You're
So we
gonna
get them
send
in
to
the
me.
month, we'll give you the month.
Thank you. The month, and that's.
I
all those
wanna
months?
say
Right.
fall.
I want to say it was,
Of last year?
because it
Fall.
was done in this late
Summer.
summer.
It's done in the spring of
2023.
twenty twenty-three.
So maybe it was summer.
Summer or fall Oh, 20, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew, you were already, no, because Andrew was already on.
I was on
council.
council, that's 24.
23, no, it's like,
What is this? This is 24.
this is 24, so 23, it had to be 23.
No, it's
Yeah,
22.
no, because Andrew was in the audience.
I was there, it was at BCA.
Yeah.
It was the fall of 23.
See?
Yeah.
Oh,
23.
23.
I knew it was fall.
I
So that's not even,
BCA, yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
so that's not even a year. Thanks, Michelle.
Just a minute.
Thank you,
If
Michelle.
you can get that for me, thank you.
Thank
Perfect, thank you. All right, moving on to the next one.
Moving on.
Ad
It
hoc,
was long to get there, I'm sorry.
that's okay. Great questions were asked and clarifying comments were made. That is the part of a workshop meeting. Ad hoc education and school district.
So the 2024-2025 preliminary budget has been advertised by the school district. They initially started the process in November of 2023, went through a review period in December of 2023, and then February of 2024. At this particular point, they are not looking to increase the millage rate, which is currently at 26.5. Even though the expenses this year have increased slightly. Some of the drivers of the increased expenses in the school district budget are related to health insurance costs, salary increases, and then the retirement actually decreased. As far as the local revenues that are being proposed in their budget, they have a total revenue of $111,840,721. A lot of that is coming from local revenues, around $59 million. 47 million of that 59 million is coming from real estate taxes and delinquent taxes. And then they were also able to, in addition to rentals and refunds and employee contributions, they earned around $750,000 in interest on their money using Pliget and some other investment tools. The state revenues are around $47 million. They did note that the governor increased slightly the education subsidy by about 5 million, which is really helping the district provide education services to our students. They also received a mental health grant of around $145,000. They'll be able to hire a social worker and therapist that will work with foster and homeless students. And then they have $2.9 million, which is the least amount of revenue from the federal government. They have a capital set aside of 1.4 million to deal with their debt service. And then some other expenses that they notated were the tuition, charter, and cyber school costs are around $23.7 million. That's quite high.
That's high.
They said they pay around $53,000 per student to those who attend PA cyber.
Wow.
So, you know, it's eating up a lot of the budget for members of the school district who are not, you know, attending the school district and sending their students to other places. And they're working, understanding that the academic performance needs to constantly improve.
Yeah.
And so parents are ultimately putting, you know, their children's education first, and they're doing what they can. At the school district, they are going to be implementing the VEX robotics program again this year. They have partnerships with CMU and Pitt, and they also have an alumni pool of individuals who have graduated from the Woodland Hills School District that have a STEM background. And so they're going to be, you know, attempting to connect students with those alumni individuals to really show them the importance of STEM and the careers that can be opened up to them. Lastly, the school board passed a cell phone policy that will be implemented in 2024-2025 school year at the high school. And what that simply means is that they will be collecting cell phones from students upon entering into the.
Oh, wow.
And then during the 8th grade period, they will be distributing those cell phones back out. They hope that it'll help with, you know, academic attention to the academics, decrease in bullying, and just overall decrease in distraction behavior.
I'm curious to see where that leads.
I was a school resource officer there for 10 years and we tried that one year and it was an absolute nightmare because kids hide the phone in areas that you can't go.
They got
And
two
then,
phones.
then the concern is when we won them, is that a weapon or is that a phone?
Yep.
And then it turned into
Really?
a much bigger issue. The next, they dropped it quickly. And I hope they have other ways of making it work, but I can't
Yes.
think of what that might be.
Well, it seems as if the administration of the high school are all on the same page, and they are very optimistic about what is going to happen with the policy. There are a number of new school board members who've been elected. One in particular representing this area, Dr. Thompson, is connected to another school district that has this particular policy implemented. So hopefully she'll be able to provide, administrative support or at least guidance on some of the things that she was able to do in her school district to bring it here, and they will have success.
We shall see.
Well, we want to put positive energy out there.
Absolutely. Well,
because they
I think
are
it's
part
worse.
of our community.
Yeah,
And we want to massage a positive relationship with the school district, knowing, some history that has occurred.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Mayor?
Yes, a couple things. With the weather getting nicer, more people using our green space down there. And I want to talk a little bit about Full Spend Park, how we're gonna keep that open. I know it's chain shut, I think permanently now. I'm not sure, our officers, do they open it every morning? and close?
We used to, yeah, we haven't done that for a couple of years just because the condition of the driveway was too.
So we'll have to kind of figure out how that's gonna play out, and again, we need to pull that, the chain up a little higher, because it's, you have to drive halfway down the driveway, to realize it's locked shut, and then try to turn around and get back out of it. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, especially if you're driving a truck. Anyway, I'd like to see, where we can get, because, we did all that work down there last year, widening it out, pulling the weeds out,
Right.
looks good. The lower part still needs a lot of work, but people are down there using it. I think since they widened that parking lot, we should be able to get down there a little further to be able to park in that, parking places they made for us. I did mention that the Allegheny Land Trust will be down there this Wednesday, 5 PM. It's available to get out and help, work a little bit down there. Again, like I say, I'm leaving on Wednesday for the state college. So I won't be able to make that. Shouldn't take too long. All are kind of already there. They're just not deep enough. And you can see what plants they are. You dig them a little deeper and put that tree back down in there. And it's in an area where they fenced off. So there's no, tubes, no stakes.
Okay.
They're just planted right in the open. Fence is like 8, 10 feet tall. And I think Tom Doherty said the other day, 5 or 6 acres that they fenced in.
Oh, wow.
It's a big area. Mentioned that we have a new intern, Jacob. I don't know how many of you have met him already. Hopefully that's gonna work out. Everyone was talking the other day, we got a lot of little jobs on this.
That's a job. Next time you see Zeke on your phone.
So, and we welcome Jacob aboard, yeah.
He starts this week, right?
Wednesday.
Someone in the borough asked me, because they saw that Swissville is having a community-wide e-waste program. And I talked with Michelle and some other people about it, and our waste management contract allows you to call waste management, make arrangements to have your e-waste picked up.
Yes.
E-waste is your TVs and
Computers.
They do batteries too, right?
batteries.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of things that they'll take. Excuse me, you just make arrangements with them. They'll give you the plastics, make the arrangements.
We
and
have
it's
more.
free of charge.
We have, but we should do it
We'll do it
again.
again, reminder.
Free of charge, correct?
Free of charge, yes,
So.
They will
rather
come
than-
to your door.
yes,
Right. Rather than
for free.
Can you put that in the?
Yes.
pull the resources that, like Ralph said, it would cost us money to run the program. Then you need people to man it. It's better if we push, I think, toward, if you have e-waste, always. man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're paying them for.
Paying for it.
We have to let the residents know that that's available.
Yeah, we have put it in the newsletter in the past, but
Time.
to Shirley's
We'll do it again.
suggestion,
It's always good to
we
remind.
need to put it in again.
That's what people.
No,
clean out,
it's a
great, you know.
It's
Great
a
service.
great thing, it's a great service.
Thank you.
I mean, you can put it right in your front door, as long as, you make an
Even out to the
arrangement.
Driveway or whatever.
You don't even bring it down to your driveway.
No, you don't even have. to
You
put
can have it, you
On
can
your
open
front
the door,
porch.
put it right there on your front porch.
Yep.
They will
Come
come and get it.
Yeah. Right on your doorstep. Drive.
That's
it.
true.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good luck, well, I'll put.
Waste management.
Waste management.
And they do electronic.
Not electronic.
Mm-hmm. It's a great service that we get for free.
Spring cleaning.
Yeah,
Summer cleaning, spring cleaning, whatever.
it's always cleaning.
Anything else,
Yeah,
Mayor?
one other thing, with the binder, thank you, Michelle and Ashley, for trimming it down.
Yes, yes.
One little comment that I had, like when I'm reading it, if something comes in and I turn it this way, and it flops with me. I'm like trying to read that thing. Is there a way you can be?
Yeah, setting on.
It's a setting.
Okay.
That's,
Well,
that's
you know
your
what,
problem.
my son told me, turn that, what's it called,
There's
the
a
orientation?
Yeah.
Yep.
you turn
Yep.
that.
Turn that off and then it'll.
Yep.
Yep.
stay that way. So,
Or there should be a little piece at the top that.
I'm not that computer savvy.
We got you. We got it.
I'm working on it. One last thing, if you go out through the Eagle Room, the Rotary, we've worked, working very hard to collect plastic for the past several months. Our goal was to collect 1,000 pounds of plastic, which we did. Thanks to all the residents who, you know, put
was that
one
bench.
down at the BCA, there's one in our borough building here. I had one down at the Elks and one over at the Wilkins borough building. And people just bringing it to my house, like, councilman, dropping it off, everybody's giving me plastic. We did reach the 1,000 pounds and we got a nice bench. The bench is gonna be located outside the Eagle Room.
Great.
There's a little, under the porch there. The bench is now sitting in the Eagle Room. Take a look at it.
Great.
So we're proud of that. And since it was such a success and a lot of people said, this is great, we kept 1,000 pounds of plastic out of a landfill. So we decided to do another challenge. So I'm 4 pounds short of my second 1,000 pounds. So I know when I take whatever's in that bin tonight, and what someone dropped off today, I'll have that 4 more pounds. And I'll order another bench.
That's awesome.
So we'll have two benches.
Thank you, Mayor. That's hard. That's hard work.
Well, and he's not getting enough credit.
Yeah.
He's, you have been just diligent about it
It's
and
been a lot of work, but
bothering all of us. But no, it's been a lot of work on your part and I really appreciate that.
But to know that you saved, 2,000
Right.
pounds, 3,000 pounds of plastic from a landfill.
That's amazing.
And just think, this is just our little area here. You know, the plastic, that the whole
It's-
country, the whole world produces.
It's a lot.
So it's actually kind of, when you think about it, too much. Anyway, that's the end of my comment.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. Any other staff comments?
Dinner? Yes, I do have a couple, of course. I want to thank all our residents who signed up for the Churchill celebratory 90th anniversary dinner that is going to be May 19th at D'Annunzio's. We are sold out.
All right.
Yes, and that's gonna be very exciting. For those who didn't sign up in time, because we have been promoting it for almost 2 months. We are having another celebration June 7th in the Eagle Room. Cake, and we have an ice cream truck and. look at
Ice
that.
cream truck?
Yes. Oh, charcuterie board, and like some fun things, and that's another way to celebrate. And hopefully everybody, and I'll be promoting that as well.
And that is
Um,
free.
That is.
And that is free, yes, from 3, what is it, actually 3 to 7:30? Yeah, it'll be in the newsletter and we'll start promoting it on
Social media and stuff.
social media and what have you. I just want to do a shout out to Woodland Hills High School. If any of you had a chance to see Wonderland, to everyone involved, the actors, the set design, the costumes from top to bottom, it was just an amazing performance and we should just all be so proud of them because it was just fantastic. So a little shout out to them as well.
Thank you.
Anything
Else? All right, let's adjourn. 8:29, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Right.
Have a good night.
Yay.